to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let's pray. Heavenly Father, we come to you seeking your guidance and your blessing upon this school, this community, and our students. And we just ask your guidance in the decisions that we make tonight. In Jesus' name, amen. Call our meeting to order tonight at 7:39. Again, apologize for running a little behind. And we'll start off with our recognition of Students of the Month. So, Mr. Provo.
Yeah, why don't we have elementary school students of the month be recognized first? Thank you, Mr. Alt, for doing that tonight.
No problem. All right, we will start off with Emmeline Fields. She doesn't have to.
No, we'll do it together.
Okay.
Okay, no, that's not what we talked about.
Looks like you're coming, kid. All right, here we go. All right. What grade are you in? Okay, second grade. Well, okay, here we go. The Related Arts Teachers Together have nominated Emmeline Fields as this month's Student of the Month. Emmeline is a great listener and has a wonderful attitude at school. She shows kindness and eagerness to help other students. Emmeline is always willing to participate in class discussions and share her ideas. We appreciate your awesomeness at Eastern Green. Good job. Congrats. No problem. All right. Next we have Corbin Snoddy. Corbin's here. Oh, nice. Okay, here we go. The Related Arts Teachers Together have nominated Corbin Snoddy as this month's Student of the Month. Corbin always puts forth his best effort at school. He consistently makes good choices and is respectful of others. Corbin actively participates and always follows directions with ease. His good attitude and desire to always give 100% is an example for all students at Eastern Green. Let's give Corbin a hand. Okay. You always think you're organized till you get up here. Okay. Abby Carmichael. All right, Abby. Here we go. Abby is a phenomenal student. She always goes above and beyond to make sure she not only understands the content in each of her classes, but masters them. She asks questions and participates in class and spends hours of outside class studying and doing extra work. On top of all of her academic success, she is also a very sweet, responsible, and funny kid. She has one last thing to master: relax and trust your abilities. Good job. Congratulations. No problem. Okay. And Donovan Wynn. Donovan's super excited about this. Come on closer. All right. All right. Miss Amanda Owens. She is who nominated you, Donovan, and this is what she says. Donovan has shown confidence and the motivation to build that confidence in others by encouraging them with words and shared experiences. He has observed mistakes that we all make graciously and provided both empathy and a growth mindset. Donovan has done this 3 times so far this month, and even when the inspirational speech he was providing was not enthusiastically received, he offered his care and kindness to other students with no expectation of return investment. Great job, Donovan. Keep up the good work, buddy. All right.
Mr. Alt.
Thanks.
You're up.
All right, good evening. The first student that I'd like to recognize is Isabelle Brock. She is not here tonight. She informed me she had to work, so I'd like to read what Mr. Atkinson nominated her for. He said that she shows spectacular work ethic both in her classes and as a superb student assistant. I feel that she should be mentioned for her hard work and for being an indispensable asset both to her fellow classmates and to me in her role as a student assistant or in cadet. So with that, Isabelle Brock. The next student that I'd like to talk about, Mr. Peyton Lewis. And you're also just as excited as all the other students being nominated. So Peyton was actually nominated by Mrs. Martindale, and Mrs. Martindale wrote, "Peyton is a great student. He pays attention, participates in class, and really strives to understand the material. He even helps other students when they are struggling. I appreciate his attitude in class, his drive, and determination. I cannot express enough how helpful it is to have Peyton help other students in such a large class. He always has a smile on his face and is willing to put in the work." And I would also like to add, I enjoy seeing Peyton in the hallways because for as big as this kid is, he kind of likes to run and hide. He does not like the limelight. And so just a great-natured kid with a heart of gold, and that's what you want to see. So with that, Peyton Lewis.
Well, parents and students, you are more than welcome to stay. I know a lot of times you guys have family stuff you want to get accomplished at this time. So if you want to leave, now's the perfect time to do so. Thank you very much, and congratulations to students.
See you tomorrow, Peyton.
Bye, Don.
Thanks for coming.
All right, before we get on to the next part of the meeting, we had anticipated that there might be someone here from the middle school baseball to talk about their survey that they've had posted and give us some information on that. Is there anybody here to represent them tonight? If not, we'll try to schedule them at a future time.
They were supposed to have a baseball game today and it got canceled, so maybe they weren't prepared.
We'll give them a chance another time.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, on to the agenda. Tonight we have the opportunity to remove an item. We had anticipated applying to the state for a flexibility waiver that would allow us to use instructional minutes instead of instructional days. And we have this on the agenda tonight to approve so we can apply for that. Turns out that they've made some changes recently, and I'll let Mr. Provo tell you a little bit about what those are, and we don't have to vote on that.
So we received a letter from the DOE, and we've had this qualification for the past few years, actually. I was just waiting to see when they were going to release it again this year. So Eastern Green is once again a performance qualified corporation. It means that our school grades and corporation grade have been high enough for multiple years in a row that you already have the built-in flexibility that we would have been applying for under this waiver. And it actually goes beyond just the whole, using instructional minutes instead of days. There's all kinds of other flexibilities you can use. So we do not have to apply for that waiver. I actually confirmed that with the state to make sure that that's what that meant, and it does. So we already have that flexibility. So the way we have our calendar set up right now that's online using 4 PD days that will be non-student days is good. We are good to go. So we do not have to have that as an agenda item, and we can use instructional minutes to count instead of the 180 days. So we're
Fantastic.
We're good there. Yep.
It's good to be recognized as a performing school.
It is. Yes.
Awesome. All right, it is recommended that the agenda for April 11th, 2022 meeting be approved as presented with additions, corrections, and deletions as recommended by the board, and this includes recommending the removal of item 4-11-4414, the flex waiver. Need a motion? Martha? Second? Matt? Any questions, comments before we go? Okay, all four. 7-0 pass. It's recommended that the minutes from the March 22nd, 2022 meetings be approved as presented. Take a motion. Scott? Second? Sharon? Any questions on that? All those for? Passes 7-0. And approval of claims, it is recommended that the claims numbers 14575 through
14638.
be approved as presented. Is there a motion? Mark? Second, Matt? Any questions, comments on those?
Got a quick question, a couple of questions from here.
Yeah.
And just wanted to ask about the brick dust and what I'm ignorant about that, and just wondered what that is used for.
It's on the baseball and I guess softball field also.
Yeah, baseline softball.
And softball.
For the infield.
And it's listed under maintenance because it's grounds maintenance, and the State Board of Accounts dictates that we put all of that under operations under maintenance.
So is that something that has to be done every year for the baseball field?
Doesn't have to be done every year, but with the improvements we were making, we decided this was a good year to do that, just kind of wrap it all into the improvements.
Thank you. And then the other one was just wondering about the Legos
The-
purchase and which grant that came from.
Those are going under the high ability grant. Those were purchased, the purchase was made early last year, and they were on back order all year, and they finally came in just right before Christmas, so that's why these are, so it'll flip over to the new high ability grant.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, all those for? Passes 7-0. And Marilyn, I wanted to come and thank you for making the copies
Oh, you're welcome.
so that the public can have those as well. Appreciate that. Participation at school board meetings. You see our policy there. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but is there anyone here who would like to make a comment tonight about anything on the agenda? Okay, we shall move on. So, Pearl, I'll turn it over to you.
Okay, so ready for corporation business. So obviously we're taking out the first thing on there is the flexibility waiver. We just talked about that. We're taking that item off. Next up, we have the elementary, middle school, and high school handbooks. Those recommended changes were put on the school website along with some other supporting materials with the agenda so that people can see what those were. Obviously, some schools have more changes than others. We're not going to go over all those tonight because the board saw those close to a month ago. Had a chance to look over them. The elementary and the high school had highlighted their changes on there, and then the elementary had just a few small changes here and there, some dates and things like that. So some of the biggest changes were obviously at the high school, where you have to look at different policies from year to year. We had quite a few dress code changes, and those were presented to the board a couple months ago. Recommendation to add back nicotine into the drug testing policy, things like that. So, like I said, those were all on the school website for everybody to see. So I'm recommending that we make the changes that have been sent to the board and were posted on the website.
Okay. Motion. Mark? Martha? Second? Sharon? Any questions, comments? All those for? All those against? Passes 6-1.
Next up, we have corporation banking. We are recommending that we change all of our banking services over to Crane Credit Union. Northwest Bank is closing the branch on Highway 54 here pretty soon. Over the past year, we had already started having meetings with several of the local banks, including Northwest Bank. They wanted to talk to us about some things they thought they could do for us. So we held meetings with Northwest Bank, Green Credit Union, Farmers and Mechanics, and Owen County Bank. Like I said, the purpose of the meetings was to investigate if these banks could provide us with any better services. We actually talked about some investment ideas they thought that they had for us, and overall, Crane, we felt, gave us the best presentation and the best, just the best overall services. So we want to change all of those with us, and we have
Crane's gonna open up with the old Northwest Building.
We're going to ask our representative from Crane if he would speak on that tonight. Kevin?
Yes, plan is to open mid-June
Mid-June.
in the same location.
Sorry about that.
No,
Fantastic.
that's all right. And that's, I'm glad you brought it up, that was a big part of our decision, let's be honest, because it's just very close for us to do our banking, and we can run down the road and instead
We're
of.
trying to figure out what we're gonna do until June.
Yeah. So, that's our recommendation.
All right. Seek a motion? Mike? Second? Matt? All those for? Passes 7-0. Thank you, Kevin.
Next up, making the recommendation that we renew our partnership with Chartwells, that's our food service company, to provide our cafeteria services. The partnership's been working well. I appreciate Chartwells and the help they give us. Usually if I email, they get right back to me. We typically have meetings with their leadership a couple times a year, and like I said, it's going well, so I think we should continue it.
Seek a motion? Sharon? Need a second? Matt? All those for? Item passes 7-0.
And I should also say that we did have an audit by the DOE in our food service, and we did very well. And Chartwells has a lot to do with that, obviously. There was a few minor findings here and there that are going to be very easy to rectify, and we just have to provide a written response to those. So another reason to keep them, because they obviously did a good job from the audit. So next up, making the recommendation for raises for classified staff. Really wanted to try to do that in the first semester if I could, but I wanted to wait and see how our budget went for the first several months of the new budget year. And I feel we can afford to do what we're recommending here. So as listed, you see there, for day custodians, we're recommending $1.25 an hour raise. A night custodian, $1.50 an hour raise. And then a custodian with at least 5 years service gets an extra 25 cents an hour. So that could add up. They don't get just necessarily one of those. So if they're a day custodian that's been here 5 years, they could actually be getting a $1.50 raise. And that's the same with everybody else on here too. We're trying to give raises also for to reward those that have been with us for a while. Instructional assistants, 75 cents an hour raise. Instructional assistant with at least 5 years, extra 25 cents, at least 10 years, an extra 25 cents. So that could add up to $1.25. Office staff and facilitators, 75-cent raise. Recommended ECA treasurer position raised to $15 an hour, plus the same longevity incentives. At least 5 years service, extra 25 cents, 10 years, extra 25 cents. So that is the recommendation I'm making at this time.
All right, seek a motion? Matt? A second? Heather? Questions, comments? All those for? Passes 7-0.
Thank you. We have another item here from Crane Credit Union. I'm recommending that we partner with Crane Credit Union to provide Eastern Green debit cards for our community members who may bank with Crane. These debit cards would contain the Eastern Green logo, and Eastern Green would make a percentage off of every transaction from those debit cards. The minimum would be $250 a quarter, and the maximum would be $500 a quarter. You guys already do this with a few of the surrounding schools, and now we're going to get involved. Is there anything else you want to say about that? I can sum it up.
Yep.
Perfect. So I'm making that really nice to see some debit cards with an EG logo out there for people who want to do that. So.
All right, seek a motion? Sharon? Second? Heather? Any questions, comments? All in favor? Passes 7-0.
Thank you. Next up is something we have also been doing for a little while here. I'm making a recommendation that we partner with AdTech Assets Inventory. We already use AdTech for our E-rate, which is, we get major discounts for like internet service, equipment, and things like that from the government. And AdTech helps us file all of those E-rate paperwork, which if you ever look at that E-rate paperwork, it's something that schools really, not many schools do it themselves. It's very time consuming, lots of jargon that you have to understand. So there's several companies out there that do this type of thing. Well, I'm also recommending that we partner with them to do our capital assets inventory. So this is to enter into a 2-year contract with AdTech for the years 2022 and 2024, because we only have to do this every 2 years, at a price of $4,500. That's for both of those years. So it's not $4,500 total, it's $4,500 for both of those years. The capital assets ledger, it's a required part of our audit by the State Board of Accounts. They will catalog our equipment that is worth $5,000 or more. They tag it so that we can, usually it's a barcoding system that we can, we know exactly what we have. And the rest there is what I've already said. It's just it's a very, can be a very time-consuming thing for someone in your own corporation to do, and that's if you can even train them on how to do it, because the guy that comes here has been doing it for a while, and it takes him, 2, 3, 4 days to get through everything. So it's money well spent in my opinion. So that's my recommendation.
All right, seek a motion. Matt? Need a second? Heather? Any questions? All those in favor? Passes 7-0. Okay.
Next up, have a recommendation to approve the resignation of Amanda Gibney as elementary principal effective April 26, 2022.
Need a motion for that? Matt? Second? Heather? All those in favor? Passes 7-0.
And we'll thank Amanda for her service to Eastern Green. Appreciate it. Next up, recommendation to approve the resignation of Jamie Robbins as Kid Zone Facilitator effective at the end of the 21-22 school year. Really want to thank Jamie. She stepped up and took that position, really helped us out. Is doing a great job, but it's not an easy job, so I understand why she's resigning. We will definitely get this posted. We'll start looking for a replacement as soon as possible, but thank you, Jamie.
Need a motion? Scott? Second? Martha? All those in favor? Passes 7-0.
Next up, I would rather not make this recommendation, but I'll do it. Recommendation to approve the resignation of Nathan Martindale as high school girls golf coach. Nathan does a wonderful job as a coach. My daughter's on the golf team, and I know she's disappointed along with the other girls, but with him being going to take over the AD job at the middle school, I completely understand. He's going to be very, very busy, but he will be very missed, but happy that he's going to take over the AD position because he'll do a wonderful job there too. So thank you, Nathan.
Need a motion? Scott? Second? Heather? All those in favor? Passes 7-0, and I blame you, Sandy.
Next up is a recommendation to hire Anna Wall, who is currently one of our teachers, but she was on a temporary contract, and she's doing a good job for us, so I'm making the recommendation that we put her on a permanent contract to teach 3rd grade for next year.
Motion, Mike Adams. Need a second? Matt? All those in favor? Passes 7-0.
Next, we have a recommendation to hire Brittany Hill as an ELC instructional assistant effective April 12th, 2022.
Need a motion? Karen? I need a second. Scott?
Next item, recommending to hire Jeffrey Graham as a volunteer assistant football coach.
Seek a motion. Mike? Need a second? Heather? All those in favor? Passes 7-0.
Next, we have a recommendation to hire Joe Pig as the varsity girls basketball coach for the 22-23 season. Mr. Buskirk led a committee that interviewed several very good candidates, and Joe rose to the top of all of those, and I think he's going to do a wonderful job for us, so that's my recommendation.
Seek a motion. Matt? Need a second? Scott? All those in favor? Passes 7-0.
Thank you. Next up is a recommendation to renew Jamie Hudson as the varsity boys basketball coach for the 22-23 season.
Seek a motion. Scott? Need a second? Heather? All those in favor? All those against? Passes 6-1.
We're recommending to hire the following coaches, for boys basketball for the 22-23 season. Tyler Bruff. Sorry. Thank you very much for Tyler Bruff for the JV head coach, Michael Hartman as C-team/freshman head coach, and Logan Bailey as varsity assistant coach.
Mike, motion? Need a second? Heather? All those in favor? Passes 7-0.
Thank you. Making a recommendation to hire the following coaches for cheerleading for the 22-23 season. Angela Inman as the head coach and Amber Reeves as the volunteer assistant coach.
Need a motion, Scott? Need a second? Sharon? All those in favor? Passes 7-0.
Tonight I'm making the recommendation to put Dawn Sullivan in as the interim elementary principal effective April 27th through the end of the 21-22 school year. I already have her working in that capacity because we needed someone obviously in that capacity to provide leadership for our elementary school, but I wanted to make it official through the board, so that's my recommendation.
Need a motion? Heather? Second, Matt? All those in favor? Passes 7-0.
Thank you. Next up, we have some disposal of property, making a recommendation to dispose of 9 broken sewing machines and 2 broken electronic babies from the manufacturer.
Can't find anybody to fix those sewing machines?
If we were going to use them, I might fix them, but they're not going to be used.
Seek a motion for that. Martha? Need a second? Heather? All those in favor? Passes 7-0.
Not after that.
Do just have a couple late items here. One is a recommendation to approve the hiring of Teresa Cox as a full-time night custodian, effective April 11th, 2022. I know Tabby is very excited to have this person, and we do have, I think, at least one other candidate, because we still have another position open, so we wanted to get this on so that we could get this person started, because we've been working understaffed with custodians for the past few months, and we're going to try to get it back up to full staff, so that's my recommendation.
Motion. Mike Adams? Second by Heather. All those in favor? Passes 7-0.
And we do have some donations. Once again, thank you very much to these generous people and clubs. So make a recommendation to accept $100 from Robert and Deborah Martindale for the elementary music department, $500 from Youth League Basketball for a middle school scoreboard controller, and Eastern Green High School Baseball Booster Club, $1,856 for high school baseball pullovers.
Any motion? Mike? Second? Martha? All those in favor? Passes 7-0.
That is it for agenda items. Next up, we have discussion and information. Anything from elementary, anybody needs to discuss? Okay, middle school, anything?
It's more celebrations than anything.
It's a shorter, shorter than usual. We're going to start iLearn state standardized testing on April 19th and hope to finish in roughly 3 weeks. I have to thank the teachers and TAs in advance, everyone involved for helping to administer that test. Many of you know it's a big deal. So thank you to everyone involved there. Thank you to 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th grade teams for their efforts in planning field trips for the students to end the year on a fun and positive note. I'll skip around because I did this totally out of order. A very special shout out to the 5th grade teachers and Nurse Tina, TA Sam Cummings, and substitute Jim Enger, along with senior chaperones that attended Bradford Woods. It was very cold outside. I went for the better part of the day, and that's as cold as I've ever been. And I've gotten rained on out there, but teeth chattering kind of cold. So the kids had a blast, made memories that'll last a lifetime, but thank you to everybody that went, because it was miserable, I'll just say it. Thank you to the 8th grade team that planned the dance last week. I don't know if we'll ever do one on a Monday again, but I was wrong. I'd say over 3/4 of our students were there easy. So good turnout, had a great time. Thank you to Erica Drummond for a great 4th and 5th grade concert. I don't know if any of you were there, but I mean, it was awesome. I remember when my kids. I remember when my kids, I actually remember what both of my kids, kind of what the theme was, and I thought this theme was really cute. So anyway, Erica does a great job, and the students did as well. They loved it. And last but not least, that it was just mentioned, thank you to Dawn Sullivan for taking on the principal role at the elementary and keeping up with her other duties, big one being corporation testing coordinator, which is huge. She's doing a great job and doing double duty, and we appreciate her. Thank you.
You said you weren't coming.
I know. Well, my wife tagged me out, so I was like, all right. Good evening. Wanted to, of course, first off, wish best of luck to our spring sports if they ever get to play. Weather has not been all that appealing, but when they have been able to play, they've really shown up and they've done a great job. So I want to wish them best of luck. I'd like to invite all board members to the Greene County Art Show at the Greene County 4-H Fairgrounds on April 15th through the 19th. There will be several Eastern Greene High School artists that will be on display. And in that same chord, I'd like to thank Mr. Zapata for the Artists and Authors Night that the Greene County Library hosted about a week ago. He also brought in Mr. Atkinson, Mrs. Rosenblatt, Mrs. Van Dievender, and Mrs. Leibacher. Some of the authorship that was read was incredibly powerful. So we had poems, we had a couple songs. The art was absolutely amazing. So if you ever get a chance, please come out and visit that. We have some amazing, capable artists and authors in our community, and they are just down the road. So, also wanted to share, April 27th is Administrative Assistance Day, and while many of you probably do not know, well, probably many of you do know her, Miss Melissa Morrison is kind of that heartbeat of the high school. And so I would be remiss without publicly thanking her for all of her hard work. All the ladies in the front offices do a fantastic job. But she's near and dear and special to my heart because she takes good care of me. So really want to thank her for all of her efforts. And then in that same board again, Teacher Appreciation Week starts on May 2nd, runs throughout that entire week. We have amazing teachers in every single building. And I would urge everyone who's watching on YouTube and everyone who is in attendance today, if you have that teacher that has went above and beyond, let them know. More so this year than any other year. It's been a rough go, and it always brightens their spirits when they know that they have made an impact. So I urge you to just show them how much you appreciate them. I'd also like to thank Miss Jamie Bellman and her JAG volunteers for a fantastic Riley Dance Marathon. We were able to raise $7,000 for Riley Hospital for Kids. This is also something that's very near and dear to my heart because I am a Riley kid. When I was 5 years old, I was cut with a weed eater across the face and spent some time there. And they are good people and put me back together. So really do appreciate them. I wanted to acknowledge the students that helped out as well. She had some JAG volunteers that ran that. Peyton Lewis being one of them. Natalie Burks, Maya Velasquez, Taylor Flick, Aaliyah Freeman, Haley Gladsby, Cheyenne Paget, Jillian Dickinson, Erica Payne, and Luke Abrams. They did a tremendous job. I know the elementary kids and the middle school kids really enjoyed it. High school kids, they won't tell you that they enjoyed anything, but they did. They had a good time. So really do appreciate all their hard work. Also, more recently, our band, orchestra, and choir went to Franklin Community Middle School and performed in the annual ISSMA organizational festival contest. They prepared 2 or 3 pieces to be evaluated by 3 judges, and all 3 groups received a gold rating overall. Mr. Carmichael has put pictures of each group on the band's Facebook page if you'd like to see a little bit more information. Last but certainly not least, I want to also just recognize our students, our juniors especially. We got our preliminary SAT results back from our testing earlier this semester. In both English and math, our juniors either met or exceeded the benchmark, which with the first year of this really happening, that benchmark, I think you talk to an educator, they're all going to tell you it was set pretty high, and our kids rose to that challenge. And so I want to thank the teachers for preparing those students. I also want to thank the juniors for taking it serious and recognizing the advantages behind it. So that's what I have for you guys today. Again, thank you guys very much. Appreciate it. Have a good night.
Thank you. I just have a few things. I want to recognize some people, some companies that have put in the time and effort and really donated either materials or their time to help us get the softball and baseball fields ready to go. We're almost there on both of them. So want to thank Roberts Construction, Sunbelt Equipment Rental, Whitfield Construction, Curtis Sparks Landscaping, Young Trucking, Lowe's in Bloomington, they donated some lumber. All the parents, I wasn't even gonna attempt to put everybody on there because I was afraid I was gonna forget somebody, but I know there's been a ton of parents that have come and helped on those fields. Pritchett Brothers Construction and our own maintenance crew here at Eastern Green. All those people I just mentioned have either donated their time or equipment or materials in some way to help get those ready. So we couldn't have done it without the community jumping in and helping. So a heartfelt thank you to all those people. Want to also say congratulations to the band for their performance at ISMA, and want to say good luck to the the musical. I know they're practicing right now, and that's going to be coming up for performance soon. And I think that's it for me right now.
Scott, anything, sir?
Nope.
No, but I got to go to the Indy 500 for the first time in 50 years of living in Indiana. To go with fourth grade.
The
I
field
was very
trip?
excited. Field trip. So,
I was gonna say the race hadn't happened.
I know. That's why we got to go.
I was more curious.
So the racetrack invited
It was
us all.
quiet,
the
it was a very
fourth
quiet race.
That wasn't it. No. But we did get to see the cars that local people from all over Indiana get to drive for a time. And then after the race, they auction the cars off. So we got to see all those community members get their cars, get their picture taken to forever, and then they got to drive around the track once, and then they take the cars home for a while. So it was very exciting. No, I said the community members. Listen carefully. And it's only open to fourth graders throughout the state of Indiana. So, yeah, it's good.
Heather, anything? Matt? Mike? On the band thing, I would encourage you, if you're hungry, I think this week is Chipotle as their fundraiser on Wednesday night. So, go have some Chipotle.
Which one?
The one on the east side, I believe.
Oh, okay.
Yes, Lisa?
Mr. President, we just forgot, and I was reminded by our wonderful kindergarten roundup coordinator, that kindergarten roundup is April 29th. So if you know of any of those little T-birds that need to come and go to roundup, please tell them to give our office a call.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa.
Do we know the date for the musical? Anybody?
I don't
Yeah,
know.
it's like the last weekend of April.
Okay.
There.
29th, 30th, and May 1st.
Thank you.
Yeah, that. 7 o'clock for Friday night, Saturday night, and I think Sunday is gonna be a matinee, and it's still undecided.
Okay. Thank you.
I think it's 4 o'clock on Sunday.
That May 1st.
Yeah.
All right. We will adjourn at 8:21. Need a motion? Matt? Second? Martha? All those for? We're out of here, 7-0. Thanks, everybody.